Lesson 11-5, Solve Proportions. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to find a missing term in a proportion. Make sure that you have your pencil and paper ready so you can work right along with me. So we can use cross products rule to solve a proportion. If we have n over 25 equals 6/5, we kind of did this a little bit in the last lesson, so we would multiply the extremes by the means. So if we have the extremes would be n times 5 is equivalent to our means would be 25 times 6. So we have, that would go down to being equivalent to, we go n times 5, that would be 5n equals 25 times 6 is 150. Now we have an equation to solve. 5n equals 150. Remember, we need to get this n all by itself. So they're multiplying here, so we're going to need to divide. So we would say divide both sides by 5. That crosses out. And then we're left with the n by itself over here. Then we also need to divide this side by 5. 150 divided by 5 would equal 30. So n equals 30. Then we can check that by substituting that 30 back up into the equation. So we have 30 over 25. Is that equivalent to 6/5? Well, then we would multiply. Or actually, we can look at this, we can reduce. And I know that 5 goes into both 30 and 25. So I'm going to divide them both by 5. 6/5 is already reduced. So 30 divided by 5 equals 6. 25 divided by 5 equals 5 is equivalent to 6/5. So that's one way that we can figure out how to solve for a proportion. The second way would be to multiply each side of the proportion by the reciprocal. So that would look like this. We have n over 25, and I'm going to multiply that by its reciprocal. So it would equal 25 times 1. And would that be equivalent to 6/5 times 25 over 1? So let's check. We have 25 goes into 25 over here one time. So then the n is all by itself. Then we have 6 times 25, or 6/5 times 25 over 1, but we can reduce that. 5 goes in here one time, and 5 goes in here 5 times. So 6 times 5 equals 30 over 1, which equals 30. So here we have 30 over n equals 6/5. Let's try this by using the cross products rule. So we're going to multiply the extremes. So we'd have 30 times 5 equals n times 6. So that would break down 30 times 5 equals 150 equals 6n. So then I'm going to divide both sides by n. So these cancel out, and I'm just left with n on this side. N equals 150 divided by 6, which equals 25. So 25 is the answer to that equation. So here's the next equation. N over 12 equals 5 over 20. So try this, figure out what n equals using the cross multiply, and then come back and check against my work. Okay, so we would have n times 20, so n times 20 equals 5 times 12. So we'd have 20n equals 60. Then we divide both sides by the 20. And this cancels out. N is by itself. So 20 or 60 divided by 20 would equal 3. So n equals 3. Here we have n over 10 equals 3/5. I want you to try to figure this one out using the using the multiplying by the reciprocal, and see what answer you come up with, and then come back and check against my work. So if I multiply by the reciprocal, I have n over 10 times 10 over 1 is equal to 3/5 times 10 over 1. So when I multiply, this cancels out. I'm left with n on this side equals, I know 5 goes in here 1 time and there 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6 over 1, which equals 6. I hope you were also able to come up with 6. So go ahead and rewatch any parts of this video before heading off to do today's work.